Morning, Jenny. Morning, Jenny. Morning, Alison. Right, I'm Geraldine up there in the corner. Right, ladies and gents, when you're ready, just come into your set position. All nice and relaxed through your shoulders. So you're placing your feet just underneath your hips, just a little softness and relaxing slightly through the knee joints, just so they're not locked out. When you're ready, find your breath. Breathe all the way up the length of your spine. Create a little space between each of your vertebrae. Feel like your head's up against the wall and you're pulling the crown of the head up against the wall just to create a little bit more length into your neck. From there, a little squeeze in with your shoulder blades, so your palms turn to your thighs and soften the front of the ribs gently down. This dog cannot make a mind of where she wants to be this morning. So keeping your neutral spine, ribs are down. I'm going to start with pelvic tilts. As you breathe in, you're going to allow your hips to gently tilt forward towards the floor. As you breathe out, you're getting the feeling of pointing your hip bones up towards the ceiling. Keep the feeling of drawing the crown of the head up towards the ceiling to create more length through the neck and the upper back. Then it'll encourage a little bit more stretch also in your lower back. As we're starting to stretch through the lower back, we're thinking about drawing our pubic bone up towards our belly button. So that's starting to pull on the lower abdominals, creating that lower abdominal connection. Still aware of that squeeze between the shoulder blades, so our collarbones are nice and open as we just move through that lower back. Then settling, midway between those 2 points. We're in our neutral pelvis, we've got our neutral spine, and we're just going to sway forwards onto the balls of the feet. And to let your weight sway back into your heels so the balls of your feet become a little bit lighter. And again, try not to go onto the toes, just the balls of the feet. And you should feel that as you start to sway backwards and forwards, you feel a little bit more connection through our midsection. But we are only going to feel that connection if we don't let our spine change position. So feel this pinch, squeeze, gentle squeeze between the shoulder blades. Still feeling the crown of the head drawing up towards the ceiling, and we're going to add in a double arm float. So as your weight comes onto the balls of the feet, float both arms just below shoulder level, back down towards your thighs, and then sway back into your heels. Again, trying to be aware the knees aren't locked, so they're just ever so slightly soft. Be aware here that your weight's not on your toes, and if it is, just shift your body weight back a tiny bit more. Now if you want even more of a challenge, for your next two, you can try it with your eyes closed. So we just start to bring awareness of all the deep muscles we use in our body to maintain our alignments as we change our centre of balance. And coming in to your last one. Still aware of the shoulders, staying in line with the ears. Shoulder blades still drawing down to the back of the ribs as the arms float, back towards your thighs, and then back in to your heels. From our set position here, we're going to come into our side bend, so knees are open and your tailbone is tucked. And we're going to gently ease down towards the outside of the knee. So try not to let the hand come forward onto the front of the thigh, because if that happens, the head and the shoulders tend to follow. So even if you're not moving as far, try and keep your fingertips directing towards the outside of the knees. Little breath in on the way down. And as you breathe out, feel the ribs easing back down towards the hips. You might find that chin wants to poke forward as you tip. Try and keep that length again into the neck. Like allowing one ear to tip towards the shoulder. And start to get the feeling that you're lifting the opposite earlobe up towards the ceiling. So again, we start to release the neck more. And then you can allow your head to be a little heavier and maybe just reach a little further towards the outside of the knee. Still trying to feel as you move, the weight stay nice and even through both of your feet. Chin is in, shoulders are nice and open. And your last one to your left. And holding in the centre. We're going to come into our dumb weight next. So we're going to bend the elbows and imagine you're holding pencils underneath your armpits. Ribs are down. Now from there, keeping your neutral spine, we take a breath in. As you breathe out, gently pressing your thumbs towards the back of the room without dropping your pencils from underneath your armpits. And it's that feeling of keeping your armpits squeezed together, keeping the elbows in nice and close to the ribs. That's where we're going to encourage more rotation through the front of the shoulder, more connection into the back of the shoulder, so we feel those shoulder blades squeezing together. Now just check you're still in your neutral, so you've got your pubic bone slightly lifted, the tailbone just gently hanging to the ground. And let's add in our foot pedals. So your right knee gently pushes forward, keeping it tracking in line with the middle of the foot. Then your left heel lifts, knee pushes forward, and then we breathe into centre. Still holding tight to those pencils under your armpits. Now as you breathe out, think about the ribs, don't let the ribs flare, and a soft breath in as you ease to centre. So the more we think about opening the front of the shoulders, across the front of the chest, the more it allows the muscles in our mid-back to work. And it's just those little muscles that sit between your shoulder blades that pull the shoulder blades together. And when they become a little bit more separated and weaker, it tends to let our shoulders drop forward. So the more we can bring this engagement into our mid-back, the much better we can maintain posture, strong posture through the upper back. And just once more on each side, thinking about the feet, a nice smooth transition. Breathing out again as you open, and a soft breath in as you release. Let the arms now come forward, lift your left arm and lift your right heel. Keeping your neutral pelvis, now we're going to alternate the arms and the feet. So as we start to move through the feet, it's getting mobility through the ankles and also building strength around our ankles. And it's really important to do our footwork because our feet, as we know, is our base for everything. And if we've got weakness in the feet, it can create weakness of the rest of the body. So the stronger we can stay through the feet and maintain the alignment between the knee and the middle of the foot, the more stability we create for the rest of the body. Now if you want to try it with your eyes closed, it makes it a little bit more challenging. We need to draw the abdominals in to keep that connection into our core. Breathing out as the arms open, breathing into centre, out as they open. Couple more on each side. And your last one on each side. We're going to continue with a little bit of work through our feet into our squats. So if you'd like to take your feet just a little bit wider than your hips, not too wide, toes are facing forward and the knees want to be open so they're tracking in line with the middle of the feet. Again, from our neutral spine, the shoulders are back. We're just going to breathe in, sit back, pull your hips back. Breathe out, push through the heels. So we want to be aware the knees don't move forward. We've got that little hinge from the hips as we sit back into the bottom and then pulling the shoulder blades together as you rise. Now when the arms float forward, try not to let your shoulder blades separate. So we're keeping that nice connection into our upper back. The hands can stop by the hips or just pull them slightly back behind the hips so we get that extra squeeze into the upper back. You can start to allow the arms to come a little higher, focusing on the shoulder blades, not separating. Now when you push through your heels this time, then roll onto the balls of your feet and lift both heels. Breathe in, lowering back into your heels, keeping your chin nodded in, and then breathe out through the heels and then to the balls of your feet. As the arms come back, try not to let the ribs push forward, so we're not letting extension come through the spine. We're coming back to a nice strong neutral position here. Feel the chin still slightly drawn in towards the back of the throat, so we can still feel that nice lengthened feeling all the way through the neck and all the way through your spine. Couple to go here. Breathe in as you sit back, and then breathing out, squeeze the bottom, hips under shoulders here. Soft breath in, and then breathe out to rise. Bring the heels down, and then bring your feet back to hip distance. I'd like to lift both heels. You can hold your hips if you want to, and I want to lower one heel just to a hover, and then the opposite heel just to a hover. So we're kind of doing our foot pedals reverse. We're pushing the knee forward, we're trying not to put the heel on the floor, and if you're happy, you're keeping your heels off the floor, and we start to add in some rotation as well through our upper body. So we're really starting to work on that strengthening through the ankles, working through the calves. It's a little bit harder, so you might have to go a little bit slower. If the ankles start to wobble, that's not a bad thing. Just really focus on that control. So feel more work through the ankles. Checking the hips, stay nice and square to the front as you rotate. Try not to let the hands come together, because that's when the shoulder blades separate. Try and keep the hands just outside with your shoulder line. So much harder than it looks this way. And once more on each side before I fall over. And then both heels down with control. Perfect. Right, so let's find our balance. So we're going to start with the heel lift first. We're going to check we've got our neutral pelvis and abdominals drawn in and ribs just slightly connected. Lift your right heel, try not to sway, and then lift your right knee just to hip level. Then come onto the ball of the foot, onto the heel. Push your left knee forward first, and then lift the knee just below hip. And again, you may sway a little bit. You probably are going to sway a little bit. Just try and keep that sway to a minimum. Breath in as the foot comes down. Push the knee forward, engage your core. Start to breathe out and keep breathing out with your lift. Soft breath in. So if you start to breathe out just before you lift the foot, and then keep breathing out as the knee lifts, that's going to create a little bit more connection into the abdominals. Once more on your left, and then we're going to add on. Keeping the standing knee ever so slightly soft. And this time when you lift your right knee, you're going to keep that right knee lifted. So the knee pushes forward, the pelvis is still level. And from here we just take a little hinge. Keeping the length in the spine, stretch into your toe. Bring the knee forward, just below hip level, onto the ball of the foot and back into the heel. Breathing out with the lift. When you've got your balance, breathe in and extend. Collarbones open, ears and shoulders still aligned. And then bring the knee just below hip level, toe down, heel down. Minimum sway, breathe out with the lift. Take a breath in and hinge. And that hinge is coming from our hips. So trying to really focus on moving from the hips and also being able to keep that alignment of the spine. Now with the hands on the hips, feel you've got a mild squeeze between the shoulder blades, so we're still keeping our collarbones open. Then if you feel comfortable letting go of the hips, bring the hands down. As you lift the knee, hold. Take a double arm float. Stretch back into your big toe. And then bring the knee forward and reset. Breathe out with the lift. Take a breath in. Collarbones nice and open. Breathe out as you bring the knee forwards. And that soft breath in to release. Feel your balance first. Feel your core is switched on and then extend. Keep the foot low, let it come a little higher. And then bringing the knee just below hip level and resetting. The next time we come to our right leg, we're going to add on just a little bit more. If you prefer, you can stay with the knee lifts or the knee lifts with this leg extension or with me. Lifting the knee, extend the arms. Relax the shoulders. Lower the foot to the floor and then lift. Breathe in as you lower and breathe out with the lift. Breath comes in through the nose, out through the mouth. Slowly lowering that foot down. And again, as you're moving the arms and moving the leg, you're thinking about using your core to keep that nice neutral set position through the spine. Standing knee is still soft and relaxed. And once more here. And then bring the knee forwards and slowly place that foot back down. When you're ready, breathe in. Breathe out, lift the knee. Take a breath in and hinge. Now think about the ribs, draw the ribs softly down and lengthen through the lower back. When you're ready, lower the legs, lower the arms and the leg, and then lift the leg and lift the arms. Again, it doesn't need to be a very big lift. Especially with the legs. We don't want to arch into the back as we lift. You might find the position of your neck changes when your leg lifts. So I want to stay strong and lengthened through the back of the neck. So as you're moving the arms and legs, that's coming from your shoulders and your hip joints. And we've got that nice stability through the spine. If it feels too much lifting the leg, you can just stay with the arms. Keeping that back foot light as it comes down to the floor. Start to breathe out as you start to lift. Take a soft breath in. Keep drawing belly button to spine. Your last one here. Bring the knee through just below hip level. And then slowly toe all the foot and heel. Perfect. I think my headphones just died, so the sound might just change a little, but hopefully you can still hear. So you got your feet back to hip distance, and let's come into some lunges. Alternating, palms in, let's circle, let's get some more movement in our shoulders. Right leg strides back, tuck the bottom, sink the knee, keep your shoulders down in the ribs, and then circle the arms and step forward as they come back to your thighs. Breathe in, bend into the back knee, feel the front knee stays open from the hip. Now push through your front heel and step together. As we stride back, don't let the shoulders stay forward. Let the shoulders come all the way back above your hips. Now here, the ribs want to flare, so you're going to work on keeping the ribs down as you lift the arms. So hold the ribs in place, bend into the back knee, feel the stretch down the hip, let the arms come up and slowly step in. So you want to try and almost get your back shin parallel to the ground and making sure that front knee stays over the heel. Then feel length all the way through your body. Open to your fingertips, pulling down with the knee and pushing through the heel. Let the breath come in through the nose as you sink, and then breathing out through the mouth as you rise. Don't forget to give your tailbone a little tuck here. And that way we kind of feel a little bit more stretch around the hip, and then pushing through the heel. 2 more on each leg. If it feels okay, allow yourself to stride a little further back or to sink a little deeper. Push through the front heel, squeeze those armpits closed. Soft breath in. Breathe out, rise. Oof. 1 more on each side. Don't rush the arms. So we're still really focused on using the muscles around the shoulders as we pull the hands and the shoulder blades back down to centre. 1 more. Breathe out, reach, and relax here. Perfect. Right, we can come into some line work. So you're going to come down onto your backs when you're ready. You're going to come into a lying position. And we're going to start with the abdominals and our obliques. Let me tilt that a little higher. There we go. Right, in our lying position, we can get comfortable to begin with. So when we do a crunch or a sit-up, we want to focus on keeping our lower back in a neutral position. Sometimes when we come into a crunch and we lift the upper body, the lower back presses into the floor. So we're going to really focus on keeping the lower back in neutral and the hips set in neutral position. So let's set that up first. As you roll back, rest the head, relax your shoulders. Now another chin in, so again we feel the length into the neck. Feet just a little hip distance apart and feet not too close. So take them forward so it helps to open up the hips. Now just put your hands on your ribs and soften your ribs down a little towards your hips. Now keep the hands here and let's just do some pelvic tilts. Shoulders are down, chin is in. Breathe in to prepare. As you breathe out, you're pulling your pubic bone up towards the belly button and you're feeling your lower back goes into a soft imprint. Now as you roll the pelvis away, try not to let your ribs flare. So again, you're breathing out, tilting the hip bones towards the head, and then taking a soft breath in as you release. Now as you release, you might find the head wants to tilt back. So we want to still really focus on keeping the length into the neck, the set position of our ribs, and just feeling and controlling the movement through the abdominals and bringing that movement and mobility into our spine. So we need a midpoint position now, so stop midway between those 2 points. And if you place your hands just towards under your lower back, you should get up to your second knuckle under your lower back. And that's your neutral position, it's that little bit of air just able to float through your lower back. Right, we're going to start with the arms. Keep in neutral, do not lose neutral position. Palms face forward, both shoulders away from your ears. As you breathe in, hold the ribs down and take the arms back a little. Keeping the ribs in place. As you breathe out, start to push the hands forward in the ribs. Then nod in the chin when the hands come past your mid-chest and reach towards your heels. You've got your lower back in neutral still. Chin tucks in, breathe in, try not to let the ribs flare and let the arms come back a little. Naturally here, the ribs want to lift, so we feel the front of the ribs drawing down. When you push the hands forward, it's like you're going to sneeze when the ribs pull towards the hips. Once the hands come to mid-chest, then tuck in the chin and reach towards your heels. The breath, again, just easing in through the nose, not letting the ribs flare here. And then breathing out through the mouth as you nod in the chin, push the hands forwards and then roll up through the upper body. Just checking again before you rise that you're not letting your back come out of neutral here. Try and push the hands first and then pull the ribs down so you get the initial connection through the ribs, and then with the chin nodding in, we get the lift with the upper abdominals rather than pulling forward with the neck or the head. Now you can keep your feet on the ground or can do the same thing with our knees above our hips. So knees at 90 degrees, tilt the pelvis back so now you're in a soft imprint. You're not forcing the back into the floor, you're just aware it's in contact. So we're going to breathe in, take the arms back a little again, watch the ribs now, and then breathe out, push the hands forward, then nod in the chin and roll up. As you breathe in, chin stays nodded in, we try and hold the ribs down. Breathe out, hands move first, keep breathing out and then follow the roll through the spine. Now as you take the arms back, you can add a single leg extension. And as you come forward, you're bringing the knee just above your hip. Feel the in-breath to open. Push the hands first, then let the head follow as you breathe out. And if you're struggling at any point with the head, you can keep the head down and just work with the arms and the leg. Think about the back of the shoulders, the back of the ribs, they want to stay down on the floor. 2 more on each side, slowly as you open. Breathe out, ribs towards hips. Breathe in again, in through the nose. Start to breathe out through the mouth, press the hands, lift the rib cage. And once more on each side. And coming into your last one. Now we're going to stay at the top, whether that's with your head lifted or with your head down. We're going to hold here. We're going to extend one leg and pulse the arms for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, change legs. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, change. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in. Change, breathe out. In. And then out. 2 more. Straight leg, stretching away into the toes, keep the leg at the diagonal. 1 more on each leg. And your last one here. And then hold, bring both knees in and take a little roll down. That's the first part of your 100. That was 50. Right, from here let's get into our waist a little bit more. Keep the head down. Let's have the feet hip distance today. So we're going to try and keep that space between the knees and we're going to take our arms wide. We want the shoulders anchored and the ribs drawn down. So your ribs are your anchor. Come into our knee rolls. Keep the same distance between the knees as you roll across to the side and then easing back into centre. And to the opposite side, breathing in and then breathing out. Now look at the knees and try and see that as you roll across, the knees stay aligned and they're not staggering apart. So when you roll to your right, you've almost got to push that left knee over so it stays directly in line with the bottom knee. So don't worry about how far you're going. I want you to now more focus on what's happening with the knees. Your left knee, pushes over the right knee as you roll across and then easing back in to the centre. Now as you roll across, we're going to hold, add a double leg extension and then bring both legs back into centre and bend the knees. Same distance, left knee pushes over, both legs extend and then bring the legs back to centre, bending the knees. We breathe in, let the knees roll. So your right foot lifts, breathe out, extend the legs, and keep breathing out slowly to come back to centre. And take a slow breath in, rolling across. Breathe out, squeeze your thighs, keep breathing out, bringing the knees back slowly. 90 degrees here. And again, opening through the waist, stretching into the toes. And if you feel happy with the legs straight, you can keep your legs straight as you roll from side to side, but with control. If you need to bend the knees, bring the knees back to 90 degrees. Take a breath in as the legs lower. Just checking on the head that the head hasn't tilted back. Feel that you're using the back of your shoulders. You're keeping both shoulders firmly pressed into the floor. We've got 2 left on each side. You can come back to 90 degrees, or you can even put the feet down if that feels better. Feel the in-breath. Push your right foot further over, and then feel the out-breath as you pull back. 1 more on each side. Last one here. And then bend the knees and give them a hug. So the hips are working with those legs lifted, so we're going to release those with some hip bridges. And we're going to come back to those nice arm circles, get some release in our shoulders too. So the feet come closer, knees are in line with the hips. Start with the arms down, let's just get the spine moving first. So we start in a neutral position, you've got that little pocket of air. The ribs are drawing down, we're going to keep that connection in the ribs. Chin is in, and we breathe, in to prepare. Out through the mouth and just come into your pelvic tilt and roll up to your very first rib. So the back of the rib cage is staying flat on the floor. Now keep the pelvis tilted back and then bring your lower back down and roll your pelvis away back to neutral position. So as we tilt the pelvis, we feel the back imprints. We roll up through the spine, just that first rib, that very bottom rib. Keep the pelvis tilted back as you place each vertebrae down on the ground, rolling the pelvis away and not letting the ribs flare. It's the ribs we want to really focus on here too. Breathe out through the mouth and then breathe in through the nose to release. Give me 1 more here. I want you to really focus on the same control when we start coming into our full shoulder bridge. So we get the tilt first. We feel the imprint. We gently roll up through each vertebrae. Feeling the back of the shoulders, pressing into the floor. Here we want to be in neutral, so no flary ribs. And then with the chin still nodded in, you're rolling through the upper back. You here start to tilt the pelvis back like we did before. Then you roll back to your neutral. So trying to encourage as much movement between each vertebrae as we can. That's why there's no rush. It makes our spine nice and healthy. Starts to help nourish the discs between each vertebrae. And it gives us what we call segmental control. So let's do 1 more there and then we'll add in those shoulder circles. No rush. Breathe out. Squeeze the bottom. And again, easing down, upper back first. Start to tilt the pelvis back. Go through your imprint and then chin neutral. And lift the arms. So when you lift the arms, reach up to the ceiling so you feel your shoulders lift off the ground. Your shoulder blades at the back will now have separated. So pull your right shoulder back and press it into the floor, and then roll your left shoulder back and press it into the floor. I want you to feel that you're holding that connection all the way through now through the shoulders. Tilt your pelvis, chin is in, roll up through the spine. Once you're at the top, keeping the shoulders down, reach the arms back. Turn your palms up, soft elbows, reach towards the heels, then turn your palms back into your thighs and roll back down through each vertebrae. There is no rush. Check the shoulders are down, breathe in to prepare. You start to breathe out through the mouth, you start to tilt, so you keep breathing out through the mouth until you come back to neutral here. As we breathe in, we reach the arms back, we turn up the palms, let the elbows bend, so you get the feeling of pulling your elbows in towards the side of your ribs. Then we extend the arms, turn palms to thighs, and then roll back down through each vertebrae. Not letting the ribs flare. So let's go with 1 more here. Starting to build strength, stability through the back of the body. And then we're looking for that mobility through our shoulders. Now we're going to also start to bring a little bit more stability work back into our feet. So we're going to add in our heel raisers. Once you're at the top of your hip bridge, retracting both shoulders, they're pressed into the floor. If you can, lift one heel or both heels. If the heels lift, don't let the bottom sink. We need to keep squeezing the bottom. Then again, breathe in as you take the arms back. Circle around towards the thighs. Palms face in, heels come down, and then you roll down through the spine. Always make sure the heels are down before you roll down. Out through the mouth. Keep breathing out, feel the shoulders pressing into the ground. Keep the bottom squeezed, the heels lift. Now just checking the knees out, trying to flare apart. So we're trying to make sure we're still using our inner thighs as much as our outer thighs to maintain that knee-hip alignment. Make sure the heels are down and then roll through the spine. Let's go with our last two here. Chin in, out breath as you start to rise. Squeeze the bottom, keep pressing to the back of both shoulders. Then lift the heels, keep that bottom squeezed. And then again, think about the ribs now as the arms go back. You're trying not to let your ribs pull away from your hips. Squeeze the elbows in towards your ribs. And then you lengthen your arms, reach into your heels. Heels placed down. Float the arms up and roll back through the spine. Oh, one more time, and hopefully you can really start to feel all the muscles around your hips working. Feel you're getting good mobility around the shoulders. Chin still nodded in. And again, most importantly, we're getting that mobility through the spine. So making sure the chin stays nodded in here. Heels come down. Chin is in, roll through the upper back, mid-back, imprint, and neutral. Bring one hand down, bring your left hand down. Take your feet a little further forwards. The little crunch we did earlier, we're going to do again. So we're back in our neutral spine and the arms slightly back. Pull the front of your ribs down, so you can put your left hand on your ribs and draw the ribs down. We're going to then push the hand forward towards the opposite knee. As the hand comes past your mid-chest, then tuck in your chin and your little finger touches or reaches the outside of your knee. You breathe in as you roll back, not letting the ribs flare here. So again, left hand can stay on the ribs, or you can bring the hand down to the side. If you struggle for any reason with the lift through the neck, you can always put the hand behind the head, the left hand, and again you're just supporting the weight of the head as you lift and reach forwards, looking down towards the outside of your left thigh. Try not to move the head till the hand comes past your ribs. Then we start to pull the ribs down and across the opposite hip. And this time we add in a knee raise. Still keeping our neutral spine, so we're only lifting one leg. So press forward, tuck in the chin, lift the knee, so the knee meets the outside of the little finger, and you breathe in, coming back down onto an eggshell. So remember, hand first, start to press, then nod the chin in, meet the knee, and then breathe in as you ease back down. No flaring ribs here. Out on the way up. In on the way down. Out through the mouth, press into the hand. Bring up the knee and hold here. We're going to just extend the arm and the leg for 5. Breathe in as you open and breathe out to close. Keep the ribs drawn down and across towards that left hip. Breathe in, keep looking down the outside of your left thigh, in to open, out to close. As you open, come back into centre, bring the foot down and bring the arm back, all the way back, and take a nice big stretch like you're reaching that arm away. So it just brings a little diagonal stretch into our midsection and releases around the shoulder. Ready to try that on the other side? So again, you can have your hand on the floor, or you can have your hand on your ribs, just feel the ribs drawing down. Your left arm lifts, And again, as you take the arm back, you've got the hand on the ribs, you'll feel the ribs want to come with the arm. So it's trying to stabilise here first, and then just moving from the shoulder. When you're ready, push the hand forward towards the opposite knee. Once it comes past mid-chest, then tuck in the chin and reach the outside of the knee. Breathing in, chin in. Try not to let the ribs flare here. Push the hand forward and let your eye gaze follow your hand right towards the outside of the knee. Again, you can use your right hand to support the weight of the head, not pulling the head forward, but just letting the weight of the head sit into the hand, so you can really focus on drawing the ribs down and across the opposite hip. And again, as we move, we're still in our neutral position. So we're trying not to press the lower back into the ground. Looking past the knee, breathing in again as you open. Breathe out, press the palm forwards, then tuck in the chin and follow the hand. You can start to add in that knee lift. You can even rest your head if you need a little less. You can let the head stay down, coming down to a light foot, breathing out with the lift, and a breath in as you lower. Again, to only lift in one leg, we still want to keep our lower back in neutral position. Arm first, ribs, then the lift. So it just gets the right muscles connecting at the right time. Push the hand, ribs towards opposite hip. Breathing in as you open. Breathe out, reach across, little fingers just to the outside of the knee, and the breath in as you open. 2 more. And then your last one. Holding at the top. So you can have this elbow resting on the floor to give you support. Feel the hold comes from your rib, pulling across this opposite hip. Then breathe in, open, breathe out and close. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Again, ribs sliding down across that opposite hip. Reaching up to the ceiling. 2 to go here. Breathe out, press the hand down, find the outside of the knee. And then this time, lower the foot and take the arm back. Take it right back, reach your arm away. Try and stretch, stretch, stretch. And then when you're ready, you can bring both knees into your hips, into your chest even. Not into your hips, that wouldn't make sense. So when you're here, chin in and give the knees a little circle. Just feel the movement through the hips. And then circle them the opposite way around. And we're going to come in to leg circles. So we need a soft imprint. We're going to tilt the pelvis back. We're going to take the arms wide. From here, we're going to start with bent knees, option to take it to straight legs as we go. Keeping the back in imprint, you're going to lower the feet about halfway down and then circle the knees out, bringing them back to centre. Breath in as you lower, breathing out as you open. Now it's as you lower the legs, that's where the lower back wants to lift. So don't think about taking the feet towards the floor. Think about stabilising your pelvis and moving from the hip joints. If you want to take it into full leg circles, when you bring your legs in, don't let them come over the belly, bring them back in line with your hips. And it might not be a circle, it might be more of an oval, which is fine. And again, notice I'm not taking the legs too low, because I'm really focused on keeping the back in neutral, imprint, sorry. If I take the legs low, the back's going to lift, and we're going to feel our back working rather than our core. Now with the knees are bent or straight, we're going to reverse the circles. We're going to take them out and then pull them back into centre. Breathing in as you open and then breathing out to close. Seeing the ribs, checking that down towards the hips. Feeling the lower back in a soft imprint, so you've got your pelvis slightly tilted back. Trying to hold that set distance between the ribs and hips as you resist the weight of the legs. 2 more circles here, knees at 90 is your option. That gets quite tough. And then bring both knees in, hug them, they deserve a hug. Have a little rock from side to side just to release your back. Perfect. And then from there we're going to take a release for our hip flexors. So if you want to push your knees forward into your hands, tuck in your chin and then take a gentle roll forwards. So nice, well-deserved release for your hips while we're here. So you just take your feet fairly wide, so that outside of your hip joints. Roll both knees across to your right, so you're rolling onto the edge of your feet. So when you now look at your knees, both knees are at a 90-degree angle. Try and turn your chest now so your chest is in line with your right thigh. Hand can come onto the ankle and on the floor above the knee. Then we want to lift the rib cage, but also push the bottom slightly down into the floor. It's so tempting to bend with our backs. You're going to feel the stretch so much more if you keep your chest lifted and your back long. And let the elbows bend as you lean forward. It's like trying to peek right over the front of your mat. Press the knee down into the floor. Now turn your rib cage and your head, looking towards the back of the room. So you feel the ribs start to turn, and as you start to feel your ribs turning, you may feel a little bit more stretch around that right hip. And then we ease back into centre and we rise. Your right hand further back. So you're still in this position here, we've not moved. You're going to take your right hand so it's in line with your shoulder and then take hold of your left foot. And gently ease the heel in towards the bottom. Now from there, once you've got the heel in, it's going to bring a little stretch into the front of the thigh. Lean into that back hand, lift the chest up, and if you want more, you just pull the knee from being in line with the hip, just a little further back. Then you squeeze your left buttock, so you're kind of thrusting the hip forward, lifting your ribs up, and getting a little bit more stretch down the front of the thigh and the front of the hip. I like this one. And then you can release your foot. So again, coming back into centre, we start with the feet wide. If they're too close, the knees are going to kind of clump together when we open the legs. Nice and wide with the feet, so that when we roll, we can look at the knees and see that both set at 90 degrees. Ribs turn, so your heart is literally in line with your left thigh. Right hand to your ankle, left hand above your knee. Again, the back's going to want to round here, so we want to bring your chest forward and feel that you're lifting the front of your ribs. Little roll back and down with your shoulder blades. Now again, if you want to deepen that stretch, you bend the elbows and you start to ease yourself forward without changing the alignment of the spine. So it's the movement from the hip joints. That's what brings that stretch right in to our left buttock. Push the chest slightly forward, like you're trying to push your chest over your knee. Lengthening, lengthening, lengthening. Breathe in and turn. Just your rib cage. Let the head turn so you're looking towards the back of the room. Feel like you're trying to turn your heart slightly towards the back of the room. And then when you're ready, easing back into the centre and rise. Left hand, so when you're here, take the left hand not too close because it's hard to lean, take it away a little. So you can kind of lean into that hand, but don't collapse into the shoulder. Push the floor away so your shoulder's strong. Then reach your right foot. Pull it in towards the bottom, and again you might find that stretch there down the front of the thigh or into the hip. If you need more, from there you just take your right leg a little further back so it opens the front of the hip here. And if you want a little bit more, you squeeze your bottom and feel like you're thrusting your hip towards your heel. You're still lifting the chest. Try and give your right shoulder a nice big roll back so it opens the shoulder as well. And if you want to go deeper, just keep encouraging that heel in. Not to the point of pain, just feeling a mild stretch down the front of the thigh. Keep pressing to the backhand. And you can release your foot. Let the foot come down. Bring the hands forward and then take your knees back. So your knees are going to come under your hips. Couple of cat stretches. So we don't want the shoulders behind the hands. Try and bring your shoulders forward right over the heels of your hands. It's going to help to stretch and strengthen the wrists as well. Crown of head is forwards and tucking under with the bottom and rolling through the spine like you do through your hip bridge. Look into the thighs and roll down through the spine, lifting your breastbone, lifting your eye gaze And again, tucking under with the bottom, rolling through each vertebrae. And looking to the thighs. Lowering the belly again, letting your chest come forward, let it lift, 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 lift. And then release, tucking under into your cat stretch. Coming into your neutral spine, we'll work our way up. So your toes can be tucked. Push back onto the balls of your feet. Now you can bend the knees a lot, and then you can push yourself forward with one foot. So it's a good way of getting up from the floor. You get your weight into that front heel, then you can step forward with the opposite foot. Bring the chin in, so you're lengthening the back of the neck again, and then the crown of the head gently ease towards the ground. Option to pop your elbows and your thighs for support. Drawing the belly button up to the spine, so again it's supporting your lower back. Hands can walk up the shins as you rise, or let the arms hang. Keep the knees soft and take a breath in. On the out breath, starting to gently really stack up through each vertebrae. Try to keep the chin tucked in as you roll. Oh, so nice around the mid back. And of course arising with your perfect posture. Tuck in the bottom, little release those obliques. So your left hand reaches the outside of your right hip, and then your right hand reaches the outside of your left hip. Try not to let the hip go back. Almost push your right hip forward to meet the right hand, and then push the left hip forward to meet the left hand. Push your right hip forward just a little, and your left hip forward, so it just stops the hips dropping back and encourages the movement through your spine. Last one here. Into the centre, shrug it all the way, pull the shoulders up, let them drop. And again, a nice big breath in with the lift, and out to release. And well done, ladies and gents. Good work. Nicely stretched and open and released in every direction. That's what we like.